So this is the button that we're going to work upon today. So let's double click on it. Make a double click on it. We shall have something like this. This is the sub for that button. What we are going to do is, instead of writing our code for displaying that table in the view button, remember at times you want, whenever you add something, at least it automatically comes to, you see it automatically in your data grid view. But if I just put that code inside here, it means for you to be able to view all those details, you must first click on the view button. Yes, we want to have the view button and it's going to be working, but you want at least, even if we click to add or update, after updating or writing the details there, we can at least view the things automatically minus having to click on, minus clicking on the view button. However, it is also going to be functioning. Now I think today I'm going to use scenarios. I think that would be better if I explain using scenarios for today's discussion. Okay, first and foremost, we want to design something that is going to be able to show us the details in this data grid view. So without wasting time, let me start. So this is the public class, or this is where we put public variables that you want to access from anywhere in these other, we can access in these other private subs. So by that, I should have two variables. I should make variables that are going to help me. Give a scenario whereby you want food. So if you want food, you go to a restaurant or to a hotel to buy food. So when you go to a hotel, buy food or to eat, to have some meals. If you reach there, a waiter will attend to you and ask you what you want. Then you make your order, and the waiter will take your order. Some the hotels use what we call they're called they're called post. They're called pause systems. They use what we call power on, power on. They call them point of sale systems. Those small desktops that you see, that you call screen touch desktops. Those ones, they're called point of sale systems. So they may enter your order and then they'll pack for you your food, or they'll put it in a plate. Then the waiter will deliver your food to you on a plate. So we say that a query is like a question. So this is what you're going to give to the waiter, that please bring for me this and this. So that is your order. You're making an order. So please bring for me this and this and this. You get. So you give your order to a waiter or waitress, and that waiter or waitress will take your order and they will confirm and then put for you food. You get. So this scenario, we also want to have the waiters, and then we want to have the plate where they're going to put your food, and then that is where they're going to put your food, and you'll start eating after being served. Okay, so we need a waiter. So that waiter in VB, our waiter will be called, so we can have a variable called dim, and our waiter will have a name of adapter. So don't put in an exam waiter. So write adapter. So we shall have a variable called dim adapter as MySQL adapter. So this is like the person who is going to serve you. So MySQL adapter, MySQL
Sam, can you first repeat the adapter thing?
Explaining in a scenario way.
Yeah.
Right. So I was saying, uh, if you're hungry and you want food, you go to a hotel. So if you go to a hotel, you'll make your order. So a waiter will come to you, and then you make your order, and that waiter will take your order to those who are serving the food, or to the POS machine, which you call the point of sale machine. Then insert your order, and then they'll pack for your food, and they'll put your food on a plate. You get? They'll put your food on a plate, or those who eat lasagna, so they'll put for your food on a lasagna, and then the waiter will bring that lasagna, or the plate that is holding the food, to you, and then you start having your meal. So even here, yes, we have our database that has that data. I have the database, it is here. I have this database that has the data. So imagine if you take this as the kitchen, whereby we have the food. So this is the kitchen, and this is the food. So this is the food, and now you want to be served this food. You want to get this food. So if you want to get this food, you will you make an order, and then they'll put that food on a plate. Not that they'll just put that food in your hands. You get? They'll have somewhere where they'll have to first put that food, then they bring that food to you. So even here, when you're writing, when you're when we are writing a code that is supposed to display the details, so you don't just get that data from database and just put it in the data grid view. So you need to put it on a plate, whereby on that plate, that's where you will, okay, give us now that where your data grid view is you get, whereby is data grid view is where you're supposed to be viewing the details from that are stored in database. So this data grid view will not have direct connection or contact with the database table. So in that case, data grid view does not have to get that data from the database table. So it gets it from somewhere. So you have to put it somewhere, whereby that those details will be picked from somewhere, which is what that we're going to see where they're going to pick those details from. So that grid will pick those details from somewhere, and then load them. You get? So the waiter will put the food on your plate, or on a plate, then deliver that food to you. That is what we are going to do. So I say that we need that waiter. So that waiter is going to be our dim adapter. So dim adapter is our waiter. So dim adapter as MySQL MySQL data adapter. So you get, so we are going to have this gentleman who is our waiter, and this one is the one that is supposed to get your order, then make sure that you get what you've ordered. You get, they provide what you've ordered on at your desk. Okay, so we have this adapter. So Assume, have I answered your question?
Yeah.
Right. So we have this adapter, and then if this is our waiter, where should that waiter put the, okay, if there is food, where should that food be placed? So we need to get a plate where they're going to put that food. So we're going to have dim, we're going to have a table. So we can give it a name of either table, or I can write TB to mean table. Sorry, dim TB table, or should I write table in full? Table, dim table as data table. You get data table, sorry, data table. So this is like a plate. So when they get that data from database, they don't directly load it into the data grid view. They first load it into a data table, and then the data grid view will pick those details from the data table. You tell me if I'm fast or if you're not understanding. I repeat. All right. So this is the waiter. So the waiter will bring the food and put that food in the data table. You get in the table, whereby now that is what they will bring to the data grid view. And then they will deliver that food. You wants the food. So these are the other two variables that we are to use. So I think after having that, we're good to go. So this, I said that this is our button, and this button is one that you should press and see the details in that data grid view. However, I have options whereby I say that at times you're going to be there when, after adding the details in your database table, you want to see those details coming here automatically minus you clicking the view. Yes, the view must be there, or you can let me say, you can have it and it also be functioning. Then even these ones will also be functioning, but you may want, if you make a add, or if you add something, it comes to the data grid view automatically minus clicking the view. So with that, we can create something like a function. Remember, we say that a function is a reusable block of code. You get, it's something that you can reuse. So we can have a function, but here someone asked what is the difference between a function and a sub. So a function is something that, okay, it is a reusable block of code that is, I don't want to say expectant, but whereby when you use that code, you're expecting to have something back. Okay, you expect a value. So a function is whereby if you use a function, you expect to have a value as an output. You get. But if you use a sub, you don't expect any value as an output. And if I want to achieve something of having that reusable code running in every button that I want to place it, that means I should use a sub instead of a function. So the easiest way you can understand this, if you want to cram it, call it a function, but it is not called a function, it is called a sub. So a sub is like, it is like a function, but for it you don't expect any value back. But a function, you expect a value back. You get, you expect something like a value. You get. So I'll not go further into functions and subs, but the difference between those two is you expect a value if you use a function, but if you use a sub, you don't expect any other value out. You get. So here we must use a sub. So we can say private. You can have a private, then sub. Write this code above this view button, so you can have private sub. I just call it, give it a name of load records. Remember, rows are also called records. Rows are also called records. So load records, and then write have this, and then click or press enter. So when you press enter, they provide you this in sub statement. So do you all have this, or should I repeat this? All right. So you have a sub. So I'm creating a sub because I want to use this code, I want to use this code in many buttons. So not only the view button, but I also want to use it in the add button, the update button, the delete button, so that if I add anything or if I remove anything and I click on the either delete or add, I automatically see what they have added or deleted in the data grid view. So I create that sub. After creating this sub, then we're going to deal with something that we have here. So we want to use the connection. So I will say the connection that we created yesterday dot open. Then yes.
I thought that whatever we want to use, it is posted in the public space.
Okay. So is this in a public space or the private space?
I think it's in private.
No, it is in a public. I'll show you something. If I try to hide those ones and even hide these ones, so where is this one? Is it in a public or private? Kennedy. Okay, if that is confusing you, let me remove it from here and come at the top of this one and put it there. Put it there. So let me put it there if you want that. What I'm meaning, I never placed it inside any of these sub, you get, but I created it as a sub also. I never wanted to put, the reason why you're saying it is private is because you're seeing this private keyword, you get. So someone may want to write something like that public, it is also okay. Even if I write public, even if I write private, as long as I call this, it will run. As long as I call it, they will run it.
Okay.
All right. So let me bring back that. So should I leave it here?
It was, but I think it's better we use public to avoid any confusion. Okay.
All right. Let me use public. All right. So I will have the con dot close. Con dot close. So I have the con dot open because I want to use the database, because this is our connection to database. And then I have the close for closing. All right. So I will have my code. Then here I should have a query dim query as string, and this query will equal to when dim query as string, and this will equal to, I open these codes. So whenever, remember, this view means that you want to have things in the table. So if you want to see things, we use the select. You get, use the select. You can say select star. Star means everything. So select star from which table are we pulling these things from? From the employees table. We gave it a name of employees table. If we come back here and check, it is called employees table. So this is the code, or this is the query that we write in case we want to get data from database. After having this, we know that we always have to make sure that we run the command. So we say command our command will equal to, hello, so we have a command, and we know that if we have a command, it should be an object. So we create an object for it. So command will equal to new MySQL command, this one here. So I'll double tap on it and have it there. So we said yesterday that this one takes two parameters or placeholders. So it takes the query, comma, and a connection to the database. Alright, so below here, now this command is commanding the database. It is commanding it is having the query that selects stuff from the employees table, and they're commanding it from the connection from our database. You get? So after that, we said we have our waiter. So this is yesterday I said that this give us scenario by this is in your mind. You get, this one is in your mind. Now you want to make an order. You have a way of communicating that order. You get? So whom are you communicating that order to? So we need our waiter. You get? We need the waiter or the waitress to give that waiter that data. You get? We need the waiter. Adapter will equal to new MySQL data adapter, because you cannot have the plate first. Let us first have the waiter. So this is the waiter. So you make an order to the waiter. So how do you make an order? We say that whenever you have your idea or like you want to get food, get out of communicating that. You get? So communicate that to the waiter. So by having this inside there, by having the command what you want. So this is a way that we are communicating this waiter that this is what you should do. So that query, get it from, perform that question and get those results from the connection. You get? So we call the waiter will equal to new MySQL data adapter, and then that waiter should take the command. That's why we have CMD. Alright, after having our waiter, then we shall have our table. So our plate. So our plate will equal to new data table. New data table. So this is our plate. You get? That plate will equal to new data table, has something like that. So we the waiter takes the order, then they get a plate, and then they put for you the food on the plate. You get? So our waiter maybe our waiter will put our food. Yes, here we call the waiter, and we get that waiter a command. Now the waiter may pick the plate, and then that waiter has to have food on that plate. You get? They will have to put food on that plate. So our waiter dot fill, they have to put something. You get? So fill, will use that fill function. You get? So this one adds, here they are saying that adds or refreshes rows in a system because of it here. Fill. So adapter will fill what? Will fill our table. You get? So after having this, I think we should now present. Next step, we should now present. Alright, yes, we should now present the food. So remember, if I come back here and I click on this data grid view, I think yesterday we gave it a name. Gave it a name. Do you think so? Let me check if we gave it a name. Yes. Oh, it still has a data grid view one. Okay, let us use this very one because we don't have any other data grid view. And if I name it, it will confuse you. So I'll call my data grid view. So data grid, it is called data grid view 1. So this very one, I'll call it and send data grid view. You get dot data source. Where is it getting the data? It is like if you're dealing with HTML, if you have an image, then you have something like image source. You get source and say equals to, and you put the source there. You get? So this is the same way. This is the same thing that we are doing here. So we are saying that data grid view. So where is it getting its data? So we are saying data grid view 1 the data source will equal to, so we shall say table. So it is getting the data from the table because our table is acting like the plate. You get? So you pick, or you pick the food from the plate. You get, that is where that is what you're supposed to be using. You get, you're supposed to use a plate. So this DataGridView.source is getting the data from the plate, which is the table. Are we on the same pace? Members, are we together?
Yes, we are.
All right. So after having that, we gave our sub a name that load records. So just come to our button for the view and call that sub by saying load is called load records and should have something like that. So you go to that button and call this sub. So if I run this code, let me see, I don't have any error. So if I run that code, if I run that code, it is showing. Don't want to restart it. Right. So we shall have that. So if I click on view, I want to see if we have any error somewhere. We don't have any error. So you see that the data grid view has been filled with data. And you never define these columns, they have come automatically. So the data is already there.